Hello, my name is Ildi. Success and happiness within the cab industry are founded on common knowledge. All parties involved must understand the dynamics of the industry to optimize their support. In this video, I'm going to provide the knowledge required to utilize the New York City cab systems from both the driver and passenger perspectives. Improving the knowledge of both parties involved in the dynamic will improve the overall efficiency and effectiveness of the system.
With the widespread use of wireless technology, the New York City Taxi and Limousine Commission decided to integrate technological components into the taxicab. The TLC required a system that could transmit GPS, credit card, and media data wirelessly and securely. The two service providers approved to integrate the system into taxicabs with Verifone Transit Systems, or VTS, and Creative Mobile Technologies, or CMT. While VTS and CMT components are different in appearance, the functionality and operation are similar. Both types of systems include the following four interconnected components: a passenger information display, or PIM, a driver information display, or DIM, a credit card machine, and meter. There are also aesthetic and operational differences between the different generations of hardware utilized by both VTS and CMT. This video will focus on the recent VTS components that will soon dominate the New York City cab industry. The DIM is the driver control center for the system. With it, the driver may access the wireless system using their username and password, view previous trips taken, view their GPS location, as well as other things. The meter has the same purpose it did since its invention in 1891, to track distance in time and calculate a cost for it. And now with the added functionality to digitally display the cost continuously. The PIM is the Passenger Information Center and utilizes an interactive touchscreen capability. It displays information on the trip, the cab specifics, applicable cab regulations and passenger rights, the GPS map location, and entertainment media. The credit card machine has the functionality to scan your credit card by both reading the card's magnet and by reading the RFID chip, and to take the passenger's signature if necessary. The wireless antenna is the wireless gateway to transmit and receive data between the cab and the network. This component receives and transmits two types of signals: a GPS signal used to continuously establish the cab's location, and a third generation or 3G wireless signal to transmit login information, credit card information, media information, and the cab's location. There are two types of rates: flat rate and normal rate. A flat rate is a rate agreed upon between the driver and passenger for a trip to a specific, usually irregular and faraway destination. There are two flat rates already programmed into the meter: JFK and Newark airports. The rates will be the same as long as the trip originates or ends at one of those destinations and does not originate or end outside of New York City. A normal rate is a trip from any point within New York City to another point within New York City. A normal rate trip that started within New York City and ends outside of New York City switches into a doubled version of the normal rate and is referred to as the out-of-town version. The driver begins their shift by entering a cab and turning on the engine of the car, which in turn turns on the system. After a 2 to 5 minute wait, the system has loaded and the driver logs into the system by pressing the login button on the DIM, and then entering their TLC license, aka hack license, pressing the enter button, entering their password if they have one, and pressing enter again. After a 5-second wait, the DIM will load the driver's name, cab number, hack license, and company name, and the meter will change from displaying off to displaying just H. With the DIM and meter showing all proper information, the driver may begin their shift. Once the driver is logged into the system, the light on top of their roof will illuminate. The light shows passengers that the cab is on duty and available for hire. As the cab drives with its medallion light illuminated, passengers desiring a ride will hail it. Once inside the cab, the passenger provides the destination and the driver hires the meter. For a normal rate, the driver presses the hire button labeled H on the meter, and then selects one of the 6 passenger descriptor buttons on the meter: uppercase P, lowercase t, and so on. Uppercase P designates 1 passenger, lowercase t designates 2 passengers, and so on. The driver must select the rate and the number of passengers on the meter within 3 seconds of each other to initiate the fare. For a flat rate, the driver utilizes the DIM by pressing the menu button, fare button, flat rate button, selecting the number of passengers, and selecting yes for MTA tax. The passenger must then agree to the flat rate by pressing yes on the PIM. The fare initiates once the passenger has agreed to the rate. The meter will display the number 5 and the rate agreed upon. Once the fare has been initiated, the meter will display the fare and MTA tax and continue to do so until the end of the trip. The PIM will begin to display a prologue describing to the passenger a summary of the important rules and rights. After 20 seconds, the prologue will end and the passenger will have access to the PIM for media, fare information, cab information, and GPS location. The current media available includes any of the trending topics in sports, politics, etc. The passenger may also choose to mute or turn off the PIM. Once the cab has reached the destination, the driver will stop the fare from accumulating by pressing the time off button on the meter labeled with a capital T. The total cost will be a sum of the fare, MTA tax, and any bridges, tunnels that were traversed. The fare will depend on the distance traveled and time elapsed, while the MTA tax displays a time-dependent value from normal, peak, and late-night hours. The PIM will then display the fare and the two payment options, cash or credit. Passengers paying in cash press the cash button on the PIM, provide the driver with the monies, and press whether or not they want a receipt on the PIM. Passengers paying by credit card press the credit button on the PIM, then select the tip amount and press enter, then swipe their card. Once the transaction has shown as complete, the passenger selects whether or not they want a receipt by pressing the yes or no button on the PIM screen. Once the total is paid, the meter will again show H, the dim will again show vacant, and the medallion on the roof light will again illuminate. The driver is now free to pick up another passenger and repeat the process multiple times until their shift is over. Once the driver's shift is over, the driver logs out of the system by pressing the log out button on the dim and the yes button. And now another driver is free to log into the system and repeat the process.
The New York City TLC recognized the need to satisfy the connectivity of the information age. They standardized integrated wireless communications within cabs throughout New York City, which standardized the passenger and driver dynamic. This video has detailed the utilitarian nature of the dynamic and its transition between human interaction into technological interaction. Time will tell whether the dynamic will regress, transition fully, or synergize into something new.